Sheldon, when it comes to the idea of libertarianism and government, we sort of have two competing theories here. One theory says that we need a very powerful state to stop a war of all against all. And then there is another concept that says the state is the health of war and war is the health of the state. If I'm someone who just wants order in my life and I'm sick of all the wars, why should I consider libertarianism as opposed to a big state intervention to keep us protected from other wars coming awry?
Well, the answer is that if you're going to give all the guns to this sovereign, to use Hobbes's the name he used for this monopoly on force, and your war of all against all, of course, comes from Hobbes and his book, The Leviathan. You're completely vulnerable now to the theoretical goodwill of the sovereign, who again in theory is supposed to just preserve order so that people can otherwise go about their business. But Hobbes's idea was to give total power to this so-called peacekeeper, and that hasn't worked out very well in history. States, for different reasons, public choice reasons, Austrian knowledge problem reasons, just simply reasons of immorality. States take advantage of this highly privileged position, the people in the state. I mean, the state is as a group of people. Let's remember, it's not some mystical entity. Those individuals then take advantage of it. First of all, they're living off the industrious people, the people that actually work, and they reap the benefits of that. And now they don't want outsiders to come in and muscle in on their golden goose. So they'll provide some defense services in that regard. So they'll protect you from outside invaders because they don't want the outside invaders to kick out the sovereign and become the new sovereign. They don't want to lose their position. So that what looks like certain services provided, have an ulterior motive, but that doesn't keep states, even though they want to protect from outside invaders, that doesn't keep states from taking their own advantage and taxing as much as they can, regulating peaceful conduct when they or some constituency finds it advantageous to do that. And so you get the history of abuse, which you can easily read about by doing any serious study of political history in the world, or particularly the United States. So that's the reason we don't want to take the Hobbesian deal. It's also a false notion by Hobbes that that's the only way to have order, because we have many examples, and this has been written about in lots of places, of essentially stateless societies or stateless territories, even if not formally stateless, where there was a good deal of order, spontaneous order, because people, generally realize there's more to gain from by trading with people, cooperating with people, than plundering them.
Of course, also helps keep big business in line with the government's goals and vice versa and all that. It's a very symbiotic, ugly relationship, American fascism, you see. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, they were paying death squads that were going around hacking women and children to death with machetes down in El Salvador and Nicaragua. And they're having the Israelis sell missiles to the Ayatollah to use against their ally, Saddam Hussein, the mass murderer of the Kurds, at the same time, after he'd killed 300,000-400,000 people in the Anfal campaign with American weapons in the first place. I saw when I was a kid, I don't know when I first learned this, but it was young. It was certainly before Bill Clinton was ever inaugurated president. I knew that the Reagan and Bush government had brought in all the cocaine, had massively increased the supply. At the same time, they were massively increasing the war on drugs and the penalties, especially for, in California, poor black people using cocaine south of the 10 there. And the LAPD went to the Marines to learn counterinsurgency, to relearn counterinsurgency tactics, to go to war against these poor people. I knew all about that. And then, of course, Waco. I like to make the analogy about Iraq War II, that what was Iraq War II? It's Waco writ large. And look, the guy's crazy, so we can't deal with him. No point in sending anyone to negotiate. The local sheriff, not man enough to deal with this crazy lunatic. Colin Powell, the former 4-star general, Secretary of State, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, not tough enough to deal with crazy old Saddam. Too crazy to talk to. Also, bad to his own people. Oh, so bad. I ever tell you all the things David Koresh was supposedly doing to his followers and their children? Oh, yeah. And Saddam Hussein, well, that was true, except it was all when Reagan and Bush supported him, all the worst things he did to his own people. Oh, and when Bush Sr. encouraged an uprising against him and then betrayed them and sat back and watched Saddam murder them all in the great Bay of Pigs of the Desert in 1991. And then they said, when he's got illegal weapons, and that's against the laws, we're going to send an Army Delta Force in there to kill them all. But so if Iraq was Waco writ large, then Waco was Iraq writ small. But that was just a little plot of land out in northeast McClellan County out there, 100 miles from where I'm sitting right now, okay? So, you know, what did I learn about that? The state will kill you if they want to. And then they'll get on TV and tell the world that you killed yourself.
Yeah, really.
Set your kid on fire and tell the world that you poured gas on your own kid and set him on fire. And then people will love it and will buy it.
Today, if you donate, we have matching funds for every dollar for the next 20,000. So get yourself a mug or one of these excellent books. Help out the Libertarian Institute. It is tax deductible. So I know it's very tempting to send money to the lying, mass murdering government, but if you want to write it off and get a book instead, that does seem like a more efficient allocation of funds. Scott,